Yes, sir. Woo! Maybe the most popular. Jay Dungy rides off with the motorcycle. That's just popular. You guys like that? Is that good? Maybe the most popular Supercross win, at least in a long time. I mean, there's been great moments. We've been doing this for 50 years. I don't want to say ever, but it's probably right up there. I want to show you this mud right here. Here's the difference between last week and this week. So last week it kept raining. It's the Weege show brought to you by Racetech and the fabulous gold valves, by the way. Suspension will be plusher, better botting resistance, more traction. I don't know if it applies in a mud race, but get yourself a set. Hopefully not every race will be muddy for the rest of time, but it feels that way right now. Look at this mud right here. It didn't rain. It rained in the afternoon, and then that made it muddy, obviously. And then it did not rain again, unlike last week where it kept raining. And a lot of guys will tell you they would wish it kept raining because then the mud starts to somewhat dry, and then it gets so sticky and gluey. And as I like to say, it gets slippery to the tires, but sticky on the plastic and everything else. And that's what we dealt with here. This is great. These fans stuck through it. And you never see people here like this late. I'm gonna just follow them. I don't even know where they're going. I'm just gonna follow them this way. Hey, sure. The reason I pointed out that type of mud specifically, that I'll congratulate you, you know. Yeah, we got some cleaning to do. We got some cleaning to do here, everybody. The reason I pointed out that type of mud, here's the thing. The slippery on the tires, sticky on the plastic mud, that is what you get in Ohio, where this guy's from, about a half hour outside of Cincinnati, not too far from Kentucky. If you're like, why is he the cowboy and all this southern stuff? Because he's from Ohio. Kentucky's not that far from that part of Ohio, but more importantly, this type of mud is there all the time. I've been to a lot of GNCCs in my time, as has this guy. I mean, I remember him as an 8-year-old on an 85s ripping. But it's really his dad. He's the legend. He's the AMA Hall of Famer. And his dad, Scott, maybe the best ever at riding in that type of mud. Those lessons paid off. We'll be right back. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Yeah, what's happening?
Scott, Low and Down Blog. Aaron, were you having any flashbacks to last year? You mentioned how it was a crazy race, lots going on around you. Was that in your mind at all as the laps were dwindling down?
I was making sure my toes were tough, that's for sure. I wasn't hanging them things off. Yeah, for sure. I was definitely having flashbacks, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't repeating "Don't Crash" in my head all the way around the track the last lap, but I almost did in the whoosh. Yeah, I mean, I was definitely nervous, and it was definitely going through my head, but I just had to keep it on two, and I knew I'd be good.
Yeah, Jason from Racer X and NBC. Aaron, I watched you grow up in GNCC, and your dad's a Hall of Famer in that series. And specifically where you're from has the worst mud you could possibly ride in. So just talk about the experience you had growing up specifically in this real sticky stuff, and your dad, who's maybe even better than you at it, and what you learned from him.
Yeah, I mean, it's in Ohio, it's almost exactly like this. We got a race. It's it's up in St. Clairsville, Ohio. It's called Powerline Park, GNCC, and when it would get muddy there, I mean, it would stick, and you would just you'd have to go down the straightaways wide open to clean your tires out, and then you'd pretty much have to do that over and over again, because when you get in the woods, it would just clog up, and soon enough you wouldn't be rolling anymore. So you had to really knock the mud off, and this was kind of like that. If you started going slow, it would cake up on your tires, and my dad always told me to keep my feet on the pegs, and the faster you go, the easier it is. So yeah, I kind of did that, but yeah, I think this mud is very, very similar to the one, or the mud in Ohio.
Jorge Prado, welcome to the Weege Show. It's late, so I'm not going to keep you for long.
No stress.
I feel like it wasn't about getting certain results. It was just showing you could do this. Do you feel like you've done that in the short amount of time you had? I think you have.
But I think I got more in me.
Yes.
Even with the level I have, that it's for sure it's not for victory or podium.
Yes, not right now. Yeah.
Because I just don't have enough experience, and
right.
I need to, have more racing experience and more Supercross experience in general.
Yes.
I need to practice different whoops, different corners, different rhythms.
Sure.
I need to practice that.
Yeah.
So. But I'm getting there. I feel like this weekend today I just felt better, more racing.
Okay. Yeah.
Even though results and everything didn't maybe show it, but I feel better. I have some positives.
Yeah.
But I just need a good start in the main. Especially in these conditions, I need a good start, and it would have changed a lot.
But how much is it about getting a start to get a better result and just showing the world I can ride this, which is going to happen even if you're in 12th? You look good. Isn't that part of the goal, to just show everyone?
I'm doing it for myself.
That's not why. You're not auditioning. You want to get results for yourself.
Yeah, I'm not racing for anyone, just for myself. And I'm doing motocross for myself, not to show I'm good or not.
Okay.
I like this sport, and that's why I'm here.
I see.
If I wouldn't like it, I would be at home. I would be in Europe.
Yeah.
After being world champion, how everything works coming to the next season. The preparation you need to do, where you need to go, and you don't put yourself in a stadium without any experience, with little Supercross training.
Crazy.
With all these guys straight in the 450 class. So I challenge myself to do it because I love the sport and I love Supercross. So and I'm starting to like it more and more, and that's cool. That's cool.
Two quick things, real quick. Are you worried? This could have been your off season. It was not an off season. Are you worried, like, man, this is going to be a year and a half with no break? Are you worried about that?
I don't care, because I'm doing what I like. I'm enjoying it. This is for me not work. This is for me motivation to get better.
Yeah.
And this is something I really like. I like to train, so I feel this also will help me once I get to the MXGP.
Okay.
So yeah, we are here. We are here to do our best and to get experience we need for the future.
And last thing, they said 3 races.
Yeah.
3?
Yeah. That was the initial plan, but when I finished the race, Pete and Robert, they were here this weekend, and they just came under the 10, and I was like, I gotta ask again. I asked them already this morning.
You want to do more?
I want to do one more.
Okay.
A2, sorry.
Okay. Yep.
A2 is next weekend.
Yeah.
Just 7 days. 7 days.
Yep.
And they said, all right. We do it. So I was so happy. Super good news, because also next weekend it's Supercross, so 3 chances to make good starts and to be up front. So and should be on dry conditions, right?
I think so.
Finally. Should be dry.
Yes.
So I'm really looking for that, and it's nice to see one more week. Try to improve also during the week, a little bit bike myself, and we'll be ready to go in A2.
All right. Welcome aboard. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Yep.
All right.
See you next week. There you go. All yours, Steve. Thanks, man. Yep. Jorge Prado's an awesome dude. I met him a couple years ago when KTM sent a bunch of us to Rome, which is the greatest trip ever, to announce Tony Caroli's retirement, and he was his teammate. There's 2 things about Prado that are great: the riding and that magnetic personality. What I was getting at in that interview is, okay, he's racing for himself, he's a racer, he wants results, but I feel like all he needed to do was show teams over here, any team, I don't think it has to just be Gas. He's a free agent. He just had to show that he has potential to do well here. Whatever the number is at the end of the day on the result sheet doesn't matter. He just had to show the potential. And I think he has definitely done that. Even though these races were muddy, anytime you see him on these tracks, these Supercross tracks, he looks fine. And everything else is already there. He's a proven champion. The starts, fitness, racecraft, all that. And can you imagine what a beast this dude would be if he raced outdoors here? I believe his goal is to do that and be full-time in America next year, and I think it's checkbox, mission accomplished, did what he needed to do to prove that. Gosh, there's so many stories to talk about tonight coming out of the press conference. So let's see, we had, I think Jet Lawrence, from what I surmised, was mad about Jason Anderson brake checking him, and then They were grabbing each other's helmets after the race violently. Jet grabbed his, and then Anderson really wrenched on Jet's, so that was gnarly. Cooper Webb, his personal opinion, as he says, is that Chase Sexton made it easy for Plessinger to lap him, but difficult for Webb to lap him. That's like a team thing. Sexton went down early, so he went from the greatest start in the history of Supercross last week to the worst start in the history of Supercross this week. I mean, he was so far back, and he rode like a madman. He was going so fast, taking so many chances, and I believe he got 8th. Tomac at one point, I thought his bike wasn't even gonna get going. He got lapped, he got 9th. Plessinger was kind of surprised that Tomac was sticking with him when he was a lap down, and Webb felt that Tomac was racing him when he was a lap down. I don't even know, A, if these dudes even know where they are. Second of all, a lot of the times they make mistakes because it's muddy, they don't mean to bump into people. And third, I also think it's so risky to go off the main race line on a one-line mud track like this that they don't want to get out of the way as lap traffic, so that's nuts. What else happened? Justin Barcia started finally feeling better on Wednesday. Good enough to get on the podium. Randall, we mentioned you're random. You're random.
Not Randall, yeah.
You're random, yeah. And Barcia gets to the podium, and it was really cool. He mentioned the connection that he and Webb and Plessinger have all been teammates. They've all trained and ridden together at Barcia's own track. And Webb at the end of the press conference said, I just want to tell everybody, I was there the first day that Aaron Plessinger ever got on Supercross in 2012, and it was downright scary. And everybody laughed, and he said, so to see him come all the way around and get this done and win one of these in the 450 class is really awesome. That was really cool of Webb to do that, especially because Webb, you know, wanted to win real bad, and he was mad about the Sexton thing, probably a little annoyed that Tomac was racing him so hard. I didn't see this coming. I did not see this coming when we were leaving Anaheim 1, back-to-back mud races. We are now getting the season that people were hoping we'd have at the beginning of the year, which is tons of characters, tons of drama, tons of scenarios. Nobody knows where anybody's at. It's been a completely different podium in every single event. Things will settle down, they always do, but we have one of the wildest starts to a series we've had in a long time. Not ever. I mean, there was one year not that long ago where it started with a Justin Barcia, Blake Baggett winning the first 2 rounds, but we've got that early season drama, and I'm telling you, leaving Anaheim 1, with Jet Lawrence being fastest in every qualifying session and leading every lap in the main, it looked like, ooh, is that gonna happen? Everybody's had their ups and downs. This is nuts. I mean, Ken Roczen, I thought was gonna win the race tonight, and then I think his front brake locked up after he crashed, and then he almost couldn't get the kickstart Kenny bike started. Just nuts. And the most consistent team out here. I think you've been the most consistent team for 3 rounds.
I think so.
What was it? 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, 4?
5, 6, 6.
5, 6, 6.
Yeah.
Everybody's in this. Yes. Thank you. Doing it right now. Everybody's in this
Fans
title.
everywhere, bro.
Everybody's in. Yes. Bike's still perfect?
I think so.
You guys still happy?
Still happy.
Still happy.
Still making progress.
It's a long honeymoon stage. It's still going.
It's never ending.
Okay, well, I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. Ferranda's told, that's Heath Harrison, who's the team manager now for Phoenix Honda. Ferranda said after last week's race, bike's perfect. And sounds like maybe a few tweaks coming, but I mean, Ferranda's just so freaking happy. And he had that feeling in the off season, but you don't know if it's gonna happen and continue when the races begin. It's there. I mean, we got Plessinger better than ever. I think the one guy who's probably super bummed on life right now is Malcolm Stewart, who's just basically been down at the beginning of every single race this year. It's been a disaster, but for everybody else, it's been really fun and really rad. But the main shout out goes to the Plessinger gang, with Scott Plessinger being, this is my favorite story of Scott Plessinger. First of all, the dude's super gnarly. This is my hand, it has 5 fingers on it. Like last year, Scott Plessinger was pulling a motorcycle off of the racetrack and got landed on by another motorcycle, and it literally ripped half of his hand off. He only has this. The dude, these old school GNCC guys, Scott Plessinger, I think we all know how gnarly Scott Summers was lifting an XR 600, and Jeff Russell, Enduro champ, who runs the GNCC tracks now, father of Caleb Russell, the multi-time GNCC champ. They are 3 of the gnarliest human beings walking the planet. There is nothing, and I mean nothing, that's too tough, too dirty, too difficult. There's nothing that even brings their heart rate up. It's just whatever you throw at them, that's just life, man. Grit your teeth, wake up earlier, work harder. They are gnarly dudes. And we see what Plessinger's grown up to be. We see what Caleb Russell grew up to be. These are gnarly guys. I have so much respect for Scott Plessinger, the AMA Hall of Famer, for his GNCC titles. And my favorite Scott Plessinger story is when the GNCCs would get really muddy with that terrain like this, slippery on the tires, sticky on the plastic. People would be like, dude, if you were around when Scott Plessinger was racing, it's unbelievable what he could do in these conditions. He was the best mud rider in the world in his prime. So I went to Scott Plessinger one time and I'm like, you know, people tell me that you were once the best mud rider in the world. And he said, yeah. I thought that was an awesome response. So congrats to the Plessinger family. They finally got the one that they were owed from last year. Thanks to Racetech for backing our show. See you at A2.